Hello and welcome to Live Code Happy Hour on this glorious Friday, March 6th, 2020. I'm Andrew Barnes. I'm here along with my co host, Brad Tilton, and we'll get started right with the intros. Brad, give us your intro.
Sure. My name is Brad Tilton. I'm the newest developer advocate at ServiceNow with the developer program. I've been developing on ServiceNow in some form or fashion for about the last 11 years as customer, partner, and employee. I'm excited to be on this live coding happy hour.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm Andrew Barnes, developer advocate at ServiceNow. Been here for a little over a year and a half in this role. Been doing enterprise applications for a long time, ServiceNow development specifically for a little over 5 years. Specialize in integrations, custom applications, and managing development teams and their artifacts. So all of the development work that development teams do. And I'm super excited to be here today. So we had our first stream last week. We had some hotel Wi-Fi difficulties, so some people got to see it and some people didn't. So this is Brad's for real first show, and I'm super excited. Into week one. As always on Live Code Happy Hour, we'll introduce our beers first and then talk about what we're gonna do today. So Brad.
All right. I have a Bombastic Brewing. It's a murder stout.
Well, that sounds exciting.
I hope it is exciting. It has some spice to it, apparently. So we'll see how it goes.
So I've got an Edmunds Oast Brewing, and it is a Order of Magnitude, which is a great name for something I'm about to drink. And it's an Imperial Sour Ale, which I don't think I've ever had anything called an Imperial Sour Ale before. So kind of excited to figure out what that means even, because, I know what Imperial Stouts are, but an Imperial Sour Ale, that's new. So today we're gonna look at so we've got 3 previous shows on CI/CD as relates to Orlando. And today we're going to dive in and put some finishing touches on the application that we've been building in that space. We're not 100% sure exactly what we're going to do, but we're gonna dive in and do some things. But what we did previously on the previous shows was we showed how you can leverage the Integration Hub spokes and APIs that correspond to those spokes to do several different things as of Orlando with relation to your development work. And so, as I said in the intro, managing developers' work is something that's near and dear to my heart. So this is of interest to me. One thing to note is most of this stuff is dependent on it being scoped application in Orlando. We hope to change that in the future, but for Orlando, it's scoped application. So some of the things that you can do are run a test suite, get the results of a test suite run. You can deploy an application. You can deploy a plugin. You can upgrade a version of an application from the repository, and you can pull down a new version from source control of an existing application. I think that's all of the key API steps that you can do and corresponding spokes. And we used all of those different spokes, those actions in our flows in Flow Designer to perform those actions. So today we want to look at putting some of these things together in a cohesive whole. And in order to do that, we have to make some decisions on what we want our cohesive whole to look like. So we don't have the typical dev chain that most customers are going to have. So we don't have lots of multi-stage environments for our work on our team. We've got a dev instance and we've got some prod instances. And so we don't have a long pipeline to go here. So as I'm thinking about that, Brad, what would you like our pipeline to look like? And we'll figure this out really quick, and then we'll dive into the share and actually start building this. So if I want to deploy a new version of one of our apps, do you think we should do a peer review?
I think we probably should do a peer review, just to make sure that it's okay. Somebody else should look at it.
And I think that that's a good practice for any development team of any size, of more than one.
Which we are. We are too.
Which we are. We're a dev team of 2. And so assuming that I want my peer reviews done when I'm ready for deployment, I think we could have a fairly tight process of submit for peer review, and then that when that is approved, it's ready to deploy. So I'm not going to ask you to peer review something until I'm ready to deploy it. Otherwise, I will ask you for a peer review like separately if I want you to look at something. But if I'm go through our formal process of this is ready for deployment, another developer's got to look at it. That means when they approve it, if they approve it, go. Let's do that. Let's build that pipeline.
Right. That sounds good.
I'll drop into a screen share, and you are doing the button pushing for the first time on the show. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Good job. First step, fail. All right, let's share the right screen. There we go. Sharing the correct. Excellent. So you're looking at one of my instances. I've got Studio open in my existing CI/CD app that we've worked on previously. So you can go look in the history and see those. And I will, everything's fine. So let's think about what that should look like. We don't actually usually, so normally most dev places, I use stories to manage our development work. We don't really use those too much here. Like for some projects, we'll use stories, but for most things, we don't have a long pipeline and a story process because the app that we're working on is our app for us, and we are the we're the product manager, the developer, the QA, the tester, the approving authority. And so when you're in there working on it is usually straightforward, so we don't have to write it down. I advise people to write down things, their requirements, and the acceptance criteria, because that helps you know when you're done. And if you've ever watched this show before, you know I like to know when I'm victorious and when I'm not, because I think that's important for a developer to know when they've reached victory. And if you don't know what it is before you reach there, if you haven't set what that bar is, it could just be anything. So thinking about that is, if I do a commit, is that what we want to say is our trigger? Is actually committing to a production branch?
So we're saying that you have written some code, you have done some things that you are ready and think are ready to be deployed, and that's where we're trying to figure out how we're going to trigger our flow from.
Yep. And so I have to decide what I want the trigger to be. Do I want it to be a record I put in a table somewhere, which will probably be something related to either releasing or stories or something in that space, or do we want it to be committing to a branch, a particular branch, for a particular repository. Um, I'm trying to think of how I would like it to be done, so that I can signal I want this process to start. So it's flexible. You could decide this, and each team needs to decide what best fits for their practices. Um, our team is so small and flexible that we could basically do anything, which is the bane of creativity. Is is we have very little constraints. And in most environments, you're going to have some constraints that make sense. Like you have a release process and you have a peer review process and a testing process that's probably linked to stories and releases. And therefore, you can tie your work to those. So let's just do that because that'll be closest to what most people will experience.
Yeah, I like the idea of a record and a table because it gives a little bit more visibility to more people. So anybody that can see the instance and, kind of makes it easier to track for people just looking at the instance here.
So I think I would leverage something in our case like ready for testing.
That
So
sounds
that will
sounds right.
signal to me that it's ready for peer review and then testing. Um, so let us create a flow on the story table that goes off of ready for testing. But the thing that I'm missing here is an attachment to the work effort. So I'm going to
Mm,
need somewhere on story or some record related to story that actually ties development work to a story. And I've done this like 50 different ways, more like 6 or 7, but um, so we could tie
mm.
this to mostly we're dealing with update sets. So we could tie this to an update set.
I mean that sounds pretty reasonable.
So what we can do, and we do have, so fairly straightforward in our case, and this isn't going to be super genericizable to everyone because you won't have some of the things that we have in place to synchronize data between our instances. So typically, your stories are going to live in your production instance, and your update sets will be in a subprod instance, right? And so linking a story to an update set um, is not a reference field typically, right?
Yeah.
We So in that case, I suggest that folks use something like a URL field. But we are going to have our stories synchronized to all of our instances. So our story can relate to an update set directly because the stories are be synced between instances. And then therefore, um, is that not a field I can select? There it is. No.
And so if you did use a URL field, that would be the URL of the update set in the other instance, right?
Yes. So in the production instance, I'd have a URL field, and that would point to the development instance URL for that update set. Let me go and just go to the table because I didn't seem to be able to pick the update set table as a reference field from the form layout. So let's try it here. Reference.
We've got a few people that have said hi in the chat. Let's see
Sweet.
Travis there, and Americo, and Marcel, and JR. Hey, everyone.
So update set reference to update set. Very, very sneaky. So now that I have that, we should probably put that on the form somewhere. And it put it on the default form, but not onto the Scrum view form for me.
I was
So
wondering why it wasn't there.
we need to throw it, somewhere like there. go in, save. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm doing this in default. It's fine. And so let's pick a update set for this record.
You
We
can't
header.
actually see the update set picker on the stream, so we don't have to tell people that.
See, I threw myself under the bus there.
Yeah. Let's pretend we're in an update set.
I didn't have to. Whee. All right. This will be the one we work on. Let's say fix the thing for Brad. And the condition is Brad is happy with the changes. That is a terrible acceptance criteria. Don't ever do that. But I was trying to be a little funny. Not that funny.
I think emotions are a great thing to measure.
I'm really enjoying this drink, by the way. Like, I don't know. I still don't know what imperial sour means, but I'm happy with whatever these people decided that it meant. So we've got our link to our update set. So now we need to add a flow that does something based off of moving and ready for testing. So let's go do that. So we'll create an application file. It shall be a flow in Flow Designer. And I always think that's a little weird that if I go it this way, it pops out entirely versus a new tab, but whatever, it's fine. We'll start a new flow. We will say our CI/CD. Our app name is CI/CD, so we don't need that in the name. Peer review and deploy. So if your application name is named CI/CD, you don't need CI/CD in the name of your flow. Just naming suggestions out there. So we're going to do created or updated on our story table. Story. We're going to add a filter for our state. Changes to ready for testing. And so even if you're the only folks in your company using the story table, you will not be the only folks ever using the story table, most likely. So add some more conditions. In our case, we're going to say the assignment group is, which groups do we have?
How about DB Atlanta? It's my favorite demo data group.
That's probably not an Agile group. So we are going to be the career app development team. Because why not?
So does that mean we are
career app development team?
We're developing a career app.
Either make it product centric or assignment group centric or something that, as you expand usage, you don't have to come back and worry about these things. So be a little forward looking. Don't spend too much time being forward looking, but just a little bit forward looking. So the first thing I want to do is not continuous integration and continuous delivery, right? I don't want to deploy this to prod immediately, do I?
That's right. We need some sort of check in between. Somebody needs to look at it. Oh, am I muted now?
Is Brad?
Oh, no.
I see you, Brad.
I think
maybe he's busy. But I can't hear you, Brad.
Awesome.
So the first thing that I want to do actually is I think in our case, we'll do a peer review is an approval. So we'll ask for approval. Nope, that won't be our first step. Our first step actually will be a CI/CD, but it'll be running test cases. So we are going to start an ATF test suite with ID. And we actually had a subflow that we created for that, I believe. Subflow, which was, oh my goodness, there was some subflows out of the box for these. Wow. I feel real bad that I didn't look here before on the previous shows. Hey Brad, can you hear me?
I can hear
Give me
you.
like
Can
a
you hear
thumbs
me
up or
now?
something if you can hear me, Brad. All right. I still can't hear you,
Can you hear
but
me?
hopefully everyone out there can hear me. And he'll figure out how I can hear him soon.
I still can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Ooh, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
I
So
don't either.
yeah. Oh well.
We're back.
I'm
Yay.
here. Huh,
Um,
that was a
yo,
sad
these
minute.
these would have been really useful for me to have looked at before. I had no idea that they created some subflows for these actions. None. No idea these existed. I
So did you?
created some of these. Like I created
Okay.
some subflows that replicated these subflows. We spent at least one whole video doing that.
Well, now people
Oh,
know how they're made. How
so
was this made?
over here we had some, and so these also exist, which is we can start a test suite with the suite name. But this one still needs us to give it a suite name. So we're still gonna have to do a lookup. And did we not publish it? It's possible we didn't publish it.
Did you do a lookup through a flow in a previous week? A lookup for an
We
ATF test?
we did. Updated, published to repo, export subflow. No. Where's that guy? This is not it. We did one though. Maybe it was a flow and not a subflow.
Was it just a step inside of a flow?
Testing test suite. Oh, that's not it.
Oh, oh.
Automate
Can't read those
deployment.
words.
Nope. All right. Well, we had a subflow.
Let's do another one.
Let's do another one. We'll make a new subflow, which is lookup tests. We're going to throw this in our spoke, our scope, not spoke. And our input is going to be the application.
So do we want to run all test suites associated with our application?
Yes.
That sounds right.
So I'm going to input an application. And since this will be, this will be running on, I'm not going to worry about the edge case where the application doesn't actually exist. I'm going to use a reference.
That would never happen, right? We can just
that will absolutely happen, but we can stub out the scope in global first if we have to. So the reference is to where am I pointing to? The application table. So please be in here. Please be in here. Please be in
Sys
here.
app, right?
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it wants to let me type sys app. All right. Well, I guess we'll just go with the string. Boo. I'm sad now. I'm I don't like that at all.
So are we expecting a sys ID in that string?
We're expecting the scope name, and so we
Okay.
should make that really clear.
Hmm.
Scope name. Good call. And then
I
we're
was
gonna
honestly confused.
then we're
No,
gonna
I was
do
just doing it for the video.
a lookup on the test suite or application to no. What I name that freaking table?
Are you looking
Mapping
for the,
suites to scopes. Mapping. I'm looking for mapping suites to scopes.
is this a table that you created or?
It is.
Okay.
It's
I'm
right
not
there on the
familiar with the
left of
mapping.
this. Yeah, it's right there on the left of this
Oh yeah.
the screen. This one. This is the one I want. I want this guy. That name
Mapping
seems a little
suite
long.
to scopes.
Why can't I have done a lookup to that table before? I don't know what's but let's go. I mean, I'm in this scope, so it shouldn't be an issue. But all application scopes can read it.
And it's in your scope, so
Yeah, and I'm in that scope, so that
you don't
shouldn't
need a
be a
cross scope.
That's not making me delighted. I'm not delighted.
Mapping.
It's definitely not in here though. Why not? Here, I'll save it. Just cuz. Look up records.
Yeah.
Nope. Why for does that not? It's a pretty straightforward request I'm going for is looking up this table that I can see definitely exists.
Yes, it is there. It's the only table in your scope.
It is weird because it's got the label of label. All right. I don't know what's going on there. But that'll make it not show up when you're looking for mapping.
And it's label again.
Yeah. So I think someone came and so I was having some trouble and I had someone come help me and I think they broke my table.
That doesn't sound like help.
So we're going to make a new table because it was a simple reference table. Mapping test to scope to apps.
We say, okay.
And I don't know what's going on there.
That was your helper.
And this is also not a writable field. Someone has done things that they shouldn't be doing. All
Were
right.
they helping with the repo?
Maybe.
Seems like a repo thing.
CSCD mapping to apps. Okay. Well, whatever. We're gonna submit that and see if it actually saves.
It wasn't me that broke the table. People are asking in the chat.
Brad joins and before the first week is over, he's breaking tables.
I will definitely break something, but I did not break that.
All right, so we need the application, which is a reference field to the sys app table. No, you don't like me today? How about application? Syscope would not be horrible.
That probably works, but
Syscope is good enough. It's good enough. Test suite. Reference. Test suite. And go. All right, good. It's done. And we're definitely going to save and like completely relaunch Flow Designer because we'll just save this guy. Because the loading of table names is not it's not a thing that Flow Designer likes to do.
oh, that's a good. Does it load them at the beginning? Do we get new loads when you try to select one?
What was the name of that subflow?
We called it the
anyway,
one that you just. Oh.
We'll just launch Flow Designer because we know how to do that.
We don't need Studio for that.
We don't need Studio for that. Where we're going, we don't need Studio. Looking up tests, and now hopefully we shouldn't have any trouble here now selecting tables. I want to select tables. I'll be patient. I really will. No, I won't.
I think it's going to happen.
That's a have a drink. Wait for a table.
That sounds good.
Nope. Okay. Come on, man. Make me look bad. Look up records.
This stout does have a spicy backbone.
Oh, yeah. You said it was a little spicy.
It is. They are correct. It has a spicy backbone.
So now we're mapping test two apps, and we're going to look up that the application is, oh, nope, the application name.
Well, that's right. So we're passing a scope name in.
Yeah, don't do that, by the way, but that's what we're doing today because that's what we've got. It's not going to fail horribly at all.
Is the application name, is that the scope name or is that the friendly name?
That's the friendly name. Is over here in Studio. Name. So when you click this guy and open this record, the display name there, that's the name.
I would expect that scope field to be what you're passing in.
Well, if that's what we want to pass in, that's
we
definitely
say scope name.
That's less complicated. Yeah. We can definitely get that right. So the scope name. How about
you just say scope
applications? Yeah, just scope, because I think I like that better.
Because it has to be unique. The scope, at least.
And then our application scope is input. We get some Flow Designer work today.
Yes.
So now for each of, so we're looking up our tests, and then for each of those tests records that come back, each of the records in that table that comes back will be a test suite to an application.
Okay.
So for each record that comes back, I want to execute a new subflow, which is run a test suite with name subflow. And the test suite name is going to come from here. Yeah. And I just pointed out something that I don't like to do, which is if you hit the down arrow too many times, you should be using this instead.
It's a good call.
So we go to our record, and then we go to the test suite, and then we go and we say, this is the test suite name, is what this thing is expecting. So there are two different subflows, and one is execute by name and one's by ID. And we chose name. We had both things available to us, so it didn't matter. The instance URL, we're going to get that from, I think, a property. Yeah, let's do a property. And in this case, we're going to get the development instance that it's on. So I want this to run. I want the flow to run in production, but I wanted the test suite to run in the dev instance. So we need a dev instance property that we reference.
Yeah, we don't have that anywhere just by default, right?
Right. So we're going to go make one. So we're going to switch our scope, actually, to be in the correct scope.
We can do this through Studio, right?
I could have done it in Studio. Let's do it in Studio.
There we go.
So we're going to call this the CI/CD dot. Are properties separated by dots or dashes? I think they're dots.
Dots. You can use underscores as well, but the dots are.
Yeah, I was just going with the typical one that we use. And I have.
But you'll already have
memoryless.
It'll give you your application scope as the first part of your property. So you're actually doing the suffix right now. So you probably don't need.
Good. Instance. Yeah, we'll just do dev instance. Looks good. And as you said, it's populating in there. And we want our value to be dev program dev dot service now.com. And we'll be polite and do all of that in there. And so we need to get this thing. So over here, we're going to do a get property. And I know it's not auto completing that. So now I doubt. And so I'm going to go look up the API because, well, if autocomplete doesn't do it, and I do not rely on my memory because my memory,
I think that's right,
is not a good thing. So
aren't we in scope though?
Oh, we are in scope. It's the same.
Yeah, I think it is the same.
All right, it is. Yay. And since I am the worst, I shall be copying and pasting all the things. So we are going to return that. Very good. Don't, however, do like I do sometimes and click that FX button. Like clicking this to collapse it actually turns it off. So don't do that. Click the collapse button, not the activate, deactivate.
That is.
You want green. Green is for go. So and a handy dandy even says, hey, this is scripted, expand to edit. But then when you turn that off, it doesn't. So Look for that. And we're not required to send these others, so I'm not going to. And so that will start a test suite. And we wanted to, I hate to recreate the things that we did last time, which was we did. So that returns us
So we get
this subflow output gives us a where's the thing I need? In fact, I'll show it with the inputs for subflow, which is here for wait until tracker completes. And so I'll need the progress ID. Do I need to look up the tracker first? I think I might have to look up the tracker first.
so the tracker is tracking the progress of the ATF suite.
Yeah. And that is not a subflow. So that is an action, not a subflow. Is get execution tracker progress. And we give it one of the things this is supposed to give me is so one of the outputs of this subflow is supposed to be a tracker.
The ID?
Yeah, the ID of the tracker. But I don't see that that's a thing that I have here. Maybe maybe in the subflow it actually waits. Hopefully they built the subflow to wait until the tracker's done. That's what I'm hoping for. Maybe they already did this part. Let's go look. So I built this by hand last time because I didn't know the subflow existed. Let's go look to see what's in the subflow. So in our subflow, let's collapse these guys. We get awesome logs and we wait until tracker completes. Excellent. Good. So it's handling all that for me.
Nice.
So I don't have to. So I just execute all of the suites. I don't have to do get this execution tracker or wait until completes because it's already doing that. But what I do want to do is collect. I want to make some decisions based off of the if I get a failure, I want to abort or do something.
Yeah, I don't want to peer review your development if it didn't pass the ATF test.
Yeah, same. So we want to change the state. So let's just send back. So this is a subflow, and I'm thinking I don't want this whole thing as a subflow anymore. Now that I don't have to build the rest of that test suite logic, I don't know that I want. Because what I want to do with a reject or a pass at this stage is write directly back to the record.
Yeah,
but I want these things.
Yeah, so if that subflow is already going to do most of what you wanted to do in your subflow, we could just put that in the main flow.
So I either have to do that or get the record from the trigger record and pass it down. Let's so I only have access to so 2.1 is only going to be inside of this for each. So like I can't reference these things outside of this for each.
Yeah.
So I need to do some logic here. So how about I have an output that is test success. And that is true false.
Sounds good.
True false.
And then we'll handle
I default it to false. Where's,
I think default value is that. Did you just default it to true?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. There.
Oh, it did.
I think it's
I was
asking you.
Yeah, I was toggling for yes, I would like a default value.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Where's my box to put the default value in? Default value is false. And down here in my for each, I would like to have a flow logic is if the I get any errors. So like errors is I want like math here, buddy. Can I get some numerical? Oh, it's a string. Ooh, no, it isn't.
Ooh, transform functions. This is one of my favorite Orlando. I don't know if anybody caught that in my reaction, but
so no, it isn't. I want to turn a string into a number. Where's the string to a number? Simple math? No. No. I want it to be a number. Can I not?
Do you want to do what do you want to do to the answer?
If it's non-zero, I want to do something. So if it's greater than 0, so I kind of want a number.
Test error count. Can we make it? Is there a what do we call that? A parse float? Is that right?
Yeah, but that's not a. I want to use this. I was promised that there would be a switch from string to integer. I was foretold that there was one of those, and I want it now. Maybe if I don't put it here, but I use it somewhere else. Let's check that. Let's put it like it doesn't even matter what this is. I'm going to put a string over here and see if I have different options based off of the field type that I'm in. Oh, well, that disappeared it. So that's not
configure the filter. Yeah.
How about table?
Table.
Whoa.
What if you did a log or something?
Okay. Let's choose.
Roll that test success count record.
That thing's angry with me. We're gonna make it go away. And we'll do like you said, we'll do a log.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll say the message is this, but you are now a number. I feel like I had maybe a couple more of those.
String.
I mean, I could do a sum and I get a number. I don't need this. but maybe that's what I do. It'll be an integer. Let's see. Failure count, transform into a sum. Sure. No, I said do it.
What happened?
Let's collapse this.
Applied transforms. So you have
Wow.
applied the sum transform already. Do you want to keep going? I think is what
No,
it's
I
asking.
guess no. Oh,
Oh,
it didn't. It's not smart enough to detect that I have a condition, different conditions now. Well, is not 0. I guess is fine. I could have done that without the transform. So if it's not 0, that's success, and that's fine. All right.
or if it is 0, that's
If it is
success,
0, it's
right?
bad. So action, if it is 0, yeah, I want the opposite.
Yeah, 0 means no
Is
failures,
0.
right?
Is 0. Then I want you to do something. Action is we're setting a value. The action is I want to.
We want to go the other way, right? We should probably make it true by default, and then we're looping through tests, and if any of them fail, we want to set it to false.
I was doing failure is the default.
Yeah, but this way,
So if you don't have any test suites, you fail.
that's true. But we like if you loop through three test suites and 2 of them pass, but 1 of them fails, that's a fail.
Oh, yes, that's true. So I do want the check to be. I want the action is to. Yeah, you're right. So the action should be set it to false. Never to set it to true from here. So I
Yeah,
guess
if
it
it
does have to
is,
start true.
yeah.
Oh, boo. It was too much fun to set it to false.
Now we get
Okay.
a default value.
Um, so I want to edit that output. How do I edit that data pill?
Oh,
I want to set the output.
hmm.
How do I do that?
That is a great question.
How's this get set? I
Don't
don't.
we subflow outputs? Is there an action for setting an output? How does the output?
Yeah. How do I set that? I know how to do it in actions.
Yeah.
Is it an option under here? No, that's subflows. Logic, flow, logic. Assign subflow outputs.
Ah, yes.
There we go. I knew I could figure it out. It had to exist. You just have to have faith that it has to exist. Therefore, you can find it. So we are going to set that false. If we're going to have to change the logic, but so if it's not 0, we set the output to false,
Yes.
and then we're done
Yeah.
with
So if
the
there's no test
subflow.
suites, then we automatically pass.
Yeah, which is bad, but whatever. It's fine.
Sounds good. As a developer, I'm just never going to create any tests so that my check
No,
passes.
it always passes. So now our output, so we take in a scope and we output a yes or no. Save. So over here in our main flow, peer review and deploy, we're going to invoke that subflow, which is not visible because that became a pop out. Where's this one? That may not show draft subflows. So here we go. Subflow, doop-de-doo. Show me my subflow. Come on, I hit publish. Be nice to me.
Oh, the publish button was there again. Right.
Must have errored then if the publish button's still there. You can do it.
Needs to hurry up so we can have success.
I know. I want to put this subflow in a flow, and then that'll be success. It won't be victory, but it'll be, step one on the road. Oh, it's angry. You're about to get a reload.
Uh-oh. What was that? Oh, it looks like it's published.
It's published. All right. Now we open up our flow. We pull in our subflow. There we go. Look up tests. We have to give it a scope, and we're going to pretend like this. Ooh, we have that. We have the scope. I don't care that it's not a reference field. I'm going to get it from a reference field. Is the app the update set application scope. Bam.
Nice.
You can't fool me.
That's a legit dot walk there.
That was a legit dot
walk. 6 levels deep.
And that's what you don't want to do over here in the right hand side. That's a lot of dot walking. So now we want to, based off of that, we're going to flow logic it, right? So the output of our lookup test is we're going to say if tests fail, send back to developer. And we're going to get this test success. And if it's, see, I named it poorly. Test success, true is good. Right. Yes. So we want false is go back to the developer. Is we're going to set a record, set update record, update record. And we're going to update our story record. And we're going to say the state goes back to work in progress or ready, in fact. And we're going to say...
We need some sort of nasty message here.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to write your tests failed. Try better next time.
The intensity of the message should match how hard it was to build the
flow. And then assuming that it didn't, we will update the record and move it to the next stage. And then that'll be it for the day. So our story record succeeded in testing, and now it's ready for peer review. So we're going to set the state into testing, which will be our peer review. And we'll even put in a nice message. Automated testing has passed. Because caps means more powerful.
That's right.
You
put or doesn't exist.
Proceed to peer review. Save it. We're shipping it. We're not even going to test it. We're shipping it. Let's go.
Nice.
All right. So I will stop the screen share and we'll pop back to video. It got significantly darker.
Oh, I am darker. The sun's going down.
Yeah. It is it's not quite too dark in here because I'm in my sunroom and it's pointed right at me, but I still turn on my lights. Because soon, like 2 weeks ago, it was like dark in here this time. So that was good though. We got one, we learned that the CI/CD folks, the dev at scale team, actually built us some subflows that are awesome.
Yeah.
We recreated at least one of those subflows. It would have been nice if I had looked at that beforehand, but whatever, it's fine. We learned useful things about building subflows on that previous show. But it's nice to know that they're there and they're already doing the wait for my execution to complete. And I was like, man, this is tedious to build this, which is why I was doing it in a subflow, because I was like, I'm going to need this repeatedly. This, check, look up my tracker and then wait for my tracker to be ready and re-execute it over and over until it's ready. So that's great that that's there. Like, thank you, dev at scale team. I just wish I had looked. I didn't see that in the documentation at all.
Maybe it's there. Maybe it's there now.
And it might be, but I didn't see it. So how was your well, I'm not quite ready to wrap up. Let's coming up, I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin for a hackathon in 2 weeks. So I was just in Austin last week. We met with some customers. Brad and I did, and we went to a developer meetup at the Brutorium in Austin, and that was a lot of fun. So it was really great to see any of you that came out for that. Thank you for GlideFast for also co-hosting that event with us. There's some great folks in Austin who visited and chatted with us for several hours Thursday night last week. If you have a developer meetup in your area, go ahead and join it and get engaged. If you're not, visit the developer site, developer.servicenow.com, if you're interested in starting up a meetup. But also, there is a health scare out there right now. So I'm advising our meetup organizers to, take that into account for their local area and be safe. But in general, meetups are awesome. Engage with other ServiceNow developers, either through the community site, the Slack site, here in video, or in person, because they're working on similar problems to you that you are. You frequently engage with developers in your local area, right, Brad?
I do. Yeah. I'm kind of in between some developer meetups, so I try to hit up a few of them. But yeah, it's a great place to, meet developers, answer questions, see what people are doing, and it's developer focused rather than, seeing a lot of sales and marketing stuff. So it's nice.
And coming up in May, barring any changes, we'll have our big conference, Knowledge. So knowledge.servicenow.com. Brad and I will certainly be there. We'll be right in the center of the CreatorCon space on the Expo Hall, running the competition, working on the developer theater. So you'll definitely be able to find us there. Let's rate our beers. It was successful.
Right.
Successful day. So this is up to you, but on a successful day, my beer gets a 0.25 extra.
Oh, nice.
Little success bump. So what's your beer today?
So my
yeah.
Show up. There we go. My murder
bombastic
stout.
Nice.
My bombastic murder stout. I mean, it gets a little bit of points for the name.
I mean, style points are valuable points.
And then it was good. I like some spice in a drink, and it was successful. So I think I'm gonna have to go 4.5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. That's pretty impressive. I don't have a lot of beers at the 4.5 level, but I'm about to add one. So this Edmonds Oast Brewing, I don't know where they're at. Where are they at? Charleston, South Carolina. Nice.
Oh,
Um, Order of magnitude, Imperial Sour Ale. It's doing it for me. And it's quite good. I think it's a 4.5.
nice.
That's a it's joining like 10 or less beers in my 4.5
Mm.
category. So that's a rare area. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Brad, coming on to the team, doing our first show that's actually going to be saved on YouTube.
Just
and
call it our first show.
uh, Brad will be leading the show next week. He'll be showing off some new things, completely new things that no one else has seen, and we're gonna be showing that live next Friday, and as well as hopefully we'll be able to show off some other new things next week. So look for some changes next week in the developer ecosystem. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us. And Brad can press the buttons.